Nation, the AM Nation pod, your source for gaming, sports, anime news, and so much more. As always, I am the anime watching, booty knife gang repping, John Cena's bestie himself, the Shaq Daddy, Ryan Green Machine Ebner, and today is a sports episode. We're going to get into some of the sport news, including baseball. We got a little bit of baseball talk to get into, NBA a little bit, and we can talk about the Blackhawks drafting Connor Bedard. It'll be a good old time. Before we dive into all of that, I want to remind you, you can check out the show on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. It's at AM Nation Pod. Hit the follow button on that. Also on all those. You can find the show on YouTube. It's youtube.com/AMNationPod. Subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. We appreciate it. Listen to the podcast on podcast platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and more. Just search Amalgamation Nation. Check out all our episodes on there. We just did, we got a gaming episode out there. I think PK and I did a sports one last week, I believe. So check that out. Also, Elaine just released on her podcast, Graced by Rain. I joined her to talk about my love of movie theaters, how much I love going to the movies. We also reviewed Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So check that out on podcast services. Where you find Animation Pod, search Graced by Rain. Twitch.tv/UndeadBlackBull is where you find David. Give him a follow and a sub. If you have Amazon Prime, you get a free Twitch gaming sub a month. So give it to Undead Black Bull. And while we're on the subject too, for Kick, right? That's a new streaming service. It's been all the news. You can check out AM Nation Pod on there as well. Just look up AM Nation Pod on there and give us a follow and all that good stuff there. I'm not booting it up yet. I just made the account like a week or so ago. Just, cover the bases. You never know. And also support the show. Epic Games creator code AM Nation Pod. So if you're playing Fortnite on your Xbox, maybe you're playing Rocket League, or you're on your PC on the Epic Game Store, go ahead and use that code AMNationPod to help support the show at no extra cost to you. Joining me today, Petey, Tahiti, Argus. Pete, how are you, sir?
I'm good, man. It's just weird having, just right after 4th of July, getting back to work was very strange.
It's the worst.
It was basically the worst today. Yeah, waking up this morning was a little rough. But yeah, I feel like this is weird because, our company had off for Monday, and then obviously Tuesday we had off. We weren't supposed to have Monday off until about 3 weeks ago. And then our CEO just was like, let's just take the day off, which was nice. So I already was going to use a PTO day because it's like, all right, who's actually going to be in the office there on that Monday? But yeah, it feels weird. It feels like almost like a mini vacation that you kind of took off. So I'm glad that we're coming back on a Wednesday. So at least we're going into a short week. Yeah. What we have. It's like, hey, tomorrow's already Thursday. Thank God. But no, I'm good, man. It's nice because here in Cleveland, we're finally getting some summer weather. It was nearly 90 today.
It's very hot, dude.
Very warm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Really hot, which is good. Hey, it's July 5th. It should be that hot. This is how hot it should be. But no, I'm doing well, man. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. I did work Monday, then had Tuesday off, and then went in today, and it was just awful. It's like the week doesn't make any sense. And on top of it, I'm off Friday. So it's very weird. This week's not very good for me in the sense of I don't know what time is, right? Yesterday, I had to cook out and everything, and I drank a little bit. Drank some beers. Went and got the Busch Light Peach. Delicious. Delicious. At one point, I realized I was super drunk too because I was sitting there and I'm like, I went to the fridge to get another beer and I'm like, wait, did I finish all these Busch Light Peaches already? No, I realized I only put half in the fridge. I didn't put the other half in there yet because I was like, I don't need to take up all the fridge space. I'll wait. So I was freaking out. I'm like, damn, what? Oh my God. And I'm like, no, never mind. I didn't drink that much. It's okay. It is the weirdest week because of that. I woke up this morning to go to work and I was like, wow, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that at all. And I was very tired. And usually when I leave, I pack my bag to go to the gym right after. And today I was looking at my bag when I was getting up and I was like, nah, we're not doing that today. I'm taking the day to myself because I'm tired. I don't want to do that. But other than that, not bad, dude. It was good. Good old weird midweek break, dude. Real weird. Uh, Super weird. And then like I got like a regular week next week, and then the week after that, I have a short week again because I'm going to Cleveland. You know what I mean?
That's right. Coming to the land, baby.
To
Let's
the
go.
land, to the land. Excited. But yeah, other than that, pretty good. Pretty good. Let's get in to some sport news with the Blackhawks. And it's official. They drafted Connor Bedard, dude, with the number 1 overall pick in the 2023 draft. They also, in that first round, I know they grabbed Oliver Moore, another center, at 19, I believe. I mean, hey, we did it. You know what I mean? Feel like we won. That was a dub for us.
Big dub. Big dub. Yeah, to get Connor Bedard. I'm so excited. I know we were talking pre-show, like unsure what the heck's even going to happen with the Bulls organization. What the heck they're going to look like here in the fall. Obviously, we're going to be watching football. Around that time. I mean, that's prime time. I want to catch football, but hey, some of those weeknights, October, November, throw on some Hawks, maybe hockey. See how the young bloods are doing. Might be kind of fun. It's sometimes. I mean, it's kind of like cool in a way because it's like, especially when you have a young team, like there's not really expectations. You really just kind of you want to just see them develop. So it should be fun to watch this kid. So yeah, hopefully he does well. I know they grabbed a couple free agents, especially Blackhawks favorite Corey Perry
Yeah.
is now a Blackhawk. Yeah. So yeah, I know a lot of Blackhawk fans are not happy about that. But hey, I like the moves that Davidson has done. Like in terms of like you have a young core obviously, and to kind of have some veterans there to kind of teach them the ways or whatever. It makes sense. It also makes sense from the perspective. I think he was like asked. I think at the press conference, it was the last week or whenever it was, I think after the draft, it was like, well, couldn't you just have a veteran presence of like Taze or Kane? And I think his answer, and I'm totally going to butcher this, but kind of the gist of it was, yeah, I mean, we could do that, but like, it's still kind of their team. Like, this is kind of a younger team. We kind of want to, it's a passing of the torch, really, to kind of have Connor and the rest of this kind of young group kind of grow together and have it be their team. So it makes sense. But yeah, if you're a Hawks fan, I feel like you got to be excited, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I know David was sending pictures at the store. I don't think he pulled the trigger. He didn't buy the jersey. He wanted to. He didn't do it though.
You did.
Yeah. We'll see. Number 98, boys and girls. Here we go. Something cool this weekend as well. This week NASCAR was in town there. It not just where it usually is out in Joliet. No. This was right here in the city, right off of Michigan, Lake Michigan. It was beautiful. It was very, very cool. The weather sucked. It rained. It was very gloomy. However, when they did get the race going, it was actually pretty cool. It was actually really awesome. I love seeing the Chicago skyline in the background. It's just so cool. I hope they do that. I hope they do this more. Shane Van Gisbergen from New Zealand wins the Grant Park 220. I couldn't tell you. You know what I mean? Didn't know who that was. Didn't have a single clue. But I flipped it on just to see it, just to see the track and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's actually really cool. I liked it. Shout out to everybody here in Chicago that went out to the race and had a good time. It was pretty cool. Shout out to whoever the production crew was for getting the White Sox and the Chicago Sky have won championships here. Crazy. You know what I mean? Crazy. Just another slap in the face, dude. It's awesome. I love being a White Sox fan. It's the best. Feels great.
That's rough. It's rough, man. I know we talked pre-show about this. But yeah, I mean, it's just rough that yeah, we both agreed about this. We both had the same thinking without even thinking it. But it's like, do you know how many people had to probably view that video and be like, yep, this good. Nothing's wrong with this. This is all good. It's like, I mean, the White Sox were 18 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like it was that long ago. It's not like they were like in the 70s. And it's like, oh, we forgot about that championship 50 years ago. Like, I mean, come on, people.
Right? They got the Bears in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, for some reason found the footage of the '85 Bears. Can't find the '05 White Sox.
Nope, can't do it. Why would you? Can't find the Chicago Sky from a couple years ago. Absolutely
Nope.
not. Why would
Must
we
have been
do
lost.
that? Oh, sorry, man. Oh yeah, sorry, Candace. Forgot everybody. Way to go. This was great. Otherwise, though, real cool event to have in the city. That was pretty cool. Basketball. Just want to throw this out there. If you haven't listened to the new Weebisode, which is out now, there's a little bit of a Weebisode tie-in today because My Hero Academia, the popular anime and manga, is teaming up with the NBA. It's going to be like some clothing and stuff. So it's going to have t-shirt designs for the following teams: the Los Angeles Lakers, the New York Knicks, the Golden State Warriors, and the Chicago Bulls, baby. Woo! These shirts are going to be sold at NBA Con, which is July 7th through July 9th, so this weekend in Las Vegas, with them to be released like more later, which then the teams will include the ones I mentioned, as well as the Boston Celtics, the Dallas Mavericks, the Miami Heat, 76ers, and for some reason, the Portland Trailblazers. Cool. Cool. Yeah, nice little crossover, dude. Very excited. I like My Hero Academia. I know a few of other people on the show do too. So maybe we'll get some Chicago Bulls gear. Be pretty cool. Speaking of the Chicago Bulls, Pete, what are they doing, man? What's going on? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if the Bulls know. But yeah, they're just handing out, some random money. To mostly to Vooch. I mean, Vooch is fine. NBA contracts are insane. Again, this is another topic we talked about at least a little bit pre-show. Yeah, if anybody wants to talk about NFL players making a lot of money and MLB players, because it used to be 20 something years ago, it's like, oh my God, this MLB contract. A-Rod's the one who kind of started the monster contract. Everybody's like, oh my God, look how much money he's making. But if you think about it, the MLB, you're working a lot. And then the NFL, obviously it's 17 now games a year, and that's grueling, definitely on your body. But yeah, nobody talks about the NBA though. And yes, it makes sense. It's less people. I get it. I 100% understand that. It's less people on a salary cap. If the salary cap continues to go up, obviously contracts goes up. That makes sense. I can figure out that math. But we should maybe talk about how these guys don't play all 82 games and they make 50 to 60 million dollars. And some of these guys never even heard of. You haven't even heard of some of these guys. So it's nuts from that perspective. I think the kid, definitely going to butcher his last name, but Tyrese Halliburton, I might have nailed that.
You nailed it.
But,
yeah.
Okay. But yeah, the kid for Indiana, he's super good. The kid's making $50 million a year. That's wild. That is just wild to me. Some of these contracts are absolutely insane, but in terms of for the Bulls, I think Carter was a good pickup for them at the point guard position. They got to figure out the whole Lonzo Ball thing. I was hoping they would go after Fred Van Fleet. That would have been sweet to get him. But Houston just shelling out dough just everywhere.
Dylan Brooks getting 20 mil a year, dude.
Exactly. We're talking about guys that aren't that good and making $20 million. So maybe the Vooch deal isn't bad. If we're comparing, Dylan Brooks to Vooch, maybe it's not that bad. But yeah, we thought maybe, come draft time that, maybe the Bulls move Levine. Maybe they do that. Maybe they do something. Maybe they get into the draft. Whatever they do, maybe they move DeMar. I don't know. Maybe they get into the third team out of this, Damian Lillard. I know you talked about, with My Hero, with the Blazers a little bit there. Maybe they get involved in that Damian Lillard thing. Maybe that was something that would come up, but. No, the signings they had were good. They have to help. They need help defensively. So I think getting Craig and getting Carter is solid for the Bulls. And the East is wide open. It really is. Come on. Miami made it all the way to, the finals, and they were the 8th seed, and the Bulls had a lead with 2.5 left. So not saying that the Bulls could have been in the finals, but I'm also saying maybe they could have at the same time. Who knows? Especially in the NBA, you just got to – Denver kind of showed it. It helps when you have Joker and, the entire squad they have with Murray and Porter Jr. But Yeah, the Bulls, it's a what if game, and it's sad because we were talking about this like when they got Lonzo Ball, and you watch the first like 20 some games that they had of that, of his time really. Um, they look so good. The Bulls look great. I mean, and if they
Yeah.
just had a true kind of point guard that was very similar to Lonzo Ball, this Bulls team would be so much better. It's a real shame about his injuries, though. I mean, that's not on AK. It was a good fit. It was a really good fit. It just didn't work out.
Yeah, I can't put the Lonzo Ball thing on AK. Like that's just unfortunate that like it happened that way. Like you said, it was a great fit for the Bulls, and I think we're having a whole different discussion, right? Like if
Mm-hmm.
Lonzo's healthy, and I love Io, but like that's it's a little bit different. Interesting what the Bulls decide to do still moving forward here throughout the summer. Do they actually get involved in the Dame trade? Is there anything, and what are the Harden trades? Like, do they get involved in that? That's an interesting thing. I think more than likely what's going to happen with the Bulls is nothing. It won't do
Yeah,
nothing.
probably. Yeah.
We'll run it back with Levine and DeRozan and Vooch and see if they can get something going. But yeah, thank God for the Connor Bedard draft. You know what I mean? Just in case the Bulls don't go hot, at least we have
Yeah.
something during the week, like you said. Because man, it's gonna be tough. I also saw Kyrie re-sign with the Mavs. Right? You re-up with the Mavs. Nice.
Yeah. That was weird. Didn't see that coming. Didn't see that coming. I mean, all the reports. I mean, this is the best part. This is the best time for the NBA. Is really free agency. I was really hoping for more movement. It seemed like all these guys opted out. Like, oh, Draymond Green, is he gonna go anywhere? 6:01 Eastern. It's like, oh, boom, resigns with the Warriors. It was like, okay, great, because they just like restructured his contract. So I mean, I figured that he was going to stay. I mean, he's such a vital piece to them, and also like him and Jordan Poole didn't get along, and guess who's out? Jordan Poole. So like as soon as
Yeah.
Poole was gone, it was like, okay, the organization's kind of saying, get this guy out. We want Draymond. This is like, hey, this is like the olive branch. Here you go. Like we got rid of this guy. We're gonna bring you back. So I wasn't really too surprised with that. Also, the Chris Middleton thing. Initially, I was like, "There's no way the Bucks let him go, right? I mean, come on, there's no way." And then he signs back there with Milwaukee too, and it was the best fit for him. I mean, where was he going to go? Where he's, going to play with a guy like Giannis?
Right.
He's not going to find anything really on the market that would make sense from a team perspective there with Chris Middleton. Even though he did do really well playing for Team USA, he did a really great job there. But yeah, other than that, I mean, there wasn't too many crazy things. I mean, yeah, we talked about the Bradley Beal thing.
Oh yeah.
That was like the big deal there. But I mean, other than that, I don't know. Nothing too much where I was like, oh, crazy.
I think James Harden opting to stay.
Yes, that's the next
wild.
domino.
You know what I mean? Where I was like, whoa. Obviously, we'll look to see whether a trade happens with Harden there, obviously. And like, what do the 76ers do? Right? Like, at that point, you're going to come to a crossroad where you have to figure out, like, do we honestly think we can get another star to go with Embiid? Does Embiid even want to do that? Like, we have no idea. Woj called this like, where we're at in the NBA as, like, the transfer portal era of the NBA, where it's like, they sign their contract, and then they're, all right, yeah, I'm done. I don't want to be here anymore. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people don't like that. So, the NBA, we'll see. Yeah, you nailed it, though. It's like, you expected a lot more, and then just, it's all right. A lot of people just stayed. Unless you're BK, dude, no one else's team's doing nothing. You know what I mean?
I mean, BK, his team's just getting all them picks, and
at the wrong time, dude. The wrong year.
Wrong time. Wrong year.
Could do it last year.
Wrong year. Yeah. I mean, hey, it's going to be a lot of Jordan Poole, Jesus Christ, Jordan Poole, and Kyle Kuzma. That's a lot of guys just chucking up shots. That's what the Washington Wizards are going to be.
Yeah. At least there's a direction,
Yeah.
Speaking of no direction, though, Pete, take us rob the diamond there.
Oh man, great job there. Great job. All right, so what should we start off with? Should we start off with the buy or sell? Should we go Ohtani? Should we go home run derby? What are we thinking?
Let's do Ohtani, dude.
Okay.
like here's my thing with
Okay.
Otani, right? And why I wanted to bring him up is I feel like we as a fans, right? We tend to take for granted what we're truly witnessing with Shohei Otani, right? I think we just kind of chalk it up as like, oh, it's the next thing, blah, blah, blah. Shohei Otani is basically a 3.3 ERA pitching. Starting pitcher in a rotation. Not out of the bullpen, starting guy, right? Then, hitting wise, he's leading the league in home runs again. He is hitting just an unbelievable. He's batting 300, dude. Like, what we're seeing from Shohei Otani is absolutely unbelievable. It's insane. Shohei Otani, a guy that decided when he actually came to America to come to baseball, lost hundreds of millions of dollars in the process because he left at an earlier time where like they weren't going to be able to offer him. He wasn't going to be able to get like make a bunch of money in like the portal or anything like that. In international signing money, it wasn't as much, right? That's why I think he went to the Angels for like what, like $2.5 million a year or something like that. Now we're heading into a situation where the greatest player in baseball and the second best player in baseball, Mike Trout, those two combined have one postseason game. That's crazy, dude.
It's insane.
This is why baseball sucks. You know what I mean? Like, cause like you gotta rig that. You gotta do something. Get those teams some exposure, bro. I love Shohei Ohtani, and like I just think it's so interesting because like all we talk about is where he's gonna go, but then part of it is like, is he actually gonna leave the Angels? Because I don't know. He might not. He's already shown before that the money part isn't really the big deal for him. Right? So, like,
Yeah.
maybe just, something we tend to forget, too, is that, like, international players, there's, like, a comfort thing, right? He's very comfortable in LA with the Angels, right? And he's got Mike Trout with him, which he really likes. And it's just, like, I wanted to highlight Shohei because not only did I just watch him just absolutely demolish the White Sox, and it was still cool. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh, dude, he's hitting dangers. And I'm like, man, this is awesome. That's so cool. That fucking Shohei Ohtani. And I just wanted to highlight him because it's like, I don't want people to forget. I don't want us to forget, like, that we're witnessing something that's just unheard of. You know what I mean? Like,
For sure.
you think Babe Ruth could hit a curveball like that, bro? Get out of here.
Seriously. I mean, like, yeah, for him to do what he's doing, I mean, yeah, he's basically Mike Trout and like Garrett Cole in one.
Yes.
That's basically what he is. So yeah, if you want to talk from a money perspective, like, I mean, how much does this guy need to be making?
Think about it. What do you think? Okay, so he's like, you just nailed that. So he's like basically a $250 million pitcher and a $300 million hitter, right?
Yeah.
So that puts your number at about 550, right? I still think he falls somewhere between 500 million and 600 million when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
That's probably where he's going to end up unless he takes a cut because he wants to stay in LA. See, that's different then. But if he were to really go, and then also at the same time, if you're the Angels, what do? Do you move him? Like, do you trade him just because you don't want to lose him for nothing?
I don't know. See, they're in a tough spot, and I was going to discuss it more in buy or sell, but I think we could talk about it now with the Angels.
Mm-hmm.
I think it makes the most sense. So the Angels right now, they're sitting at 45 and 43. So this is better than what they've had the last few years. Yes, they've started to kind of tail off. They are 7 games back there in the division to the surprising Texas Rangers that have been great this year. They're 4 games back in the wild card. Wild card might be kind of difficult just because, I mean, you're probably getting you're at least getting 1 from the AL East. They might get 2. And you also, if you're the Angels, got to deal with the Astros as a possible team in the wild card too. Yes, there's more wild card spots, but still, that's kind of difficult there. Yeah, you have Ohtani, who I think Ohtani's injured right now, isn't he? Correct?
Yeah, he just got banged up. Yep.
Yeah.
Trout too.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're the Angels right now, you're unsure when Trout's going to come back, and then Ohtani's hurt right now. this is a big stretch for them. I mean, it's a good thing that the deadline is not for another month, so they can kind of play this out and see where it's at. And then also, I mean, you got to think about it. The team that would try to trade for Otani, like, I mean, you got to give up some assets for
Yeah.
sure that are like really good. So you got to pick a team that not only is, in it, but has the prospects for it. That screams Dodgers to me, which I would absolutely hate.
Dude, maybe he's just going to go to the O's, bro.
Yeah, there we go. Ben, like, BK just absolutely, like, he would be insane if Otani went there. 100%. That would be nuts. I mean, they have the prospects. They went all in this year and just got Otani because there's no way he's signing back there.
What if he just loves it? He's like, man, I love Baltimore.
I love Baltimore. I'll sign for $20 million a year. I just love Baltimore. You imagine how many dingers he would hit in right, though?
Oh, man.
That porch? Oh my God. That would be remarkable. I mean, yeah, and he's hitting in Anaheim. That's not the easiest ballpark to hit dingers in either. What he's doing. So, yeah, it's even more impressive. But, yeah, I mean, I think we are taking him for granted. And it does suck with Otani because, again, it's just the West Coast thing. We just don't see it. I mean, it's especially, I mean, I know we were talking, or you and BK were kind of going back and forth in the sports chat just about sports media and whatever. I mean, you look at, like, you turn on SportsCenter, like, they're not talking too much about Otani. It's the thing you talked about earlier. They're talking about where is he going to go next. They're not talking about how great he is and how phenomenal he is. And I feel like the national media, maybe not the national media, but, like, maybe the casual fans just saw Otani, and Otani just didn't do great in the Derby. And they're like, oh, see, like, this guy's not even that great. Like, look, he can't even do it on the spotlight.
The thing about Otani right now, is, like, remember when, like, LeBron came out, right? And it's like all eyes were, like, waiting for LeBron to, like, ascend, right?
Yeah.
Or Tiger Woods, even, for, like, people that are a little bit older. And they remember in the 90s when, like, Tiger was, the youngest to make the cut and, like, do all these things. And they're like, oh, like, there's your moment. And Shohei Ohtani is in his moment right now. Where, like, it's insane, dude. The month of June, the stretch he went on this month is nuts. And it just continues to go. Like Shohei Ohtani, if it ends the way it ends the season, he's going to win MVP again, dude. He should.
Oh, absolutely.
He should.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. It's so crazy is that, like, okay, so the Angels took a risk with Shohei Ohtani where they said, all right, we're going to let this guy pitch and hit. And he's not just, like I said, he's not just coming out of the bullpen or anything. Like, he's going to work into the rotation, right? So now, like, you'll see other prospects maybe, like, attempt that, you know what I mean? Like, out of college baseball and stuff like that, and even out of high school, where, like, maybe teams will be a little bit more willing to, like, try it than they would have before. But, like, imagine being, like, the one dude to do it, and, like, it's Shohei Ohtani. So, like, the bar is set so high of the value you want to get from somebody doing that. Like, I think it's more reasonable to expect a guy to hit really well and then he pitches really good enough to, like, be in your bullpen. Like, you could just use him when you need to use him. Like, I just don't imagine. Like, I think that's what we just forget. Like, what you're witnessing is a dude that's a top guy in the rotation and a top guy in the lineup at the same time. It's insane.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. He's so good. It's kind of like it's not to the extent, like, because Otani's definitely, like, way more impressive, but it's kind of like the Jokic thing. Like, where the Joker, you're just like, yeah, look what he just put up, another triple-double or whatever, and you kind of take it for granted. And, like, he definitely should have been MVP this past year, but it was just, like, fatigue with it. It was just like, well, you can't give it to him every year.
Right.
And it was just, something like that where and it's crazy because we're talking about, like, the best players in all these sports. Guess what? They're all, like, foreign players. They're all foreign players, which is unbelievable to think about. But, yeah, Ohtani is insane. He's absolutely phenomenal. Yes, and, I mean, he's such a, it seems like great guy to just, like, cheer for.
Have you got to see him play against the Guards yet or no?
Yeah.
It was pretty cool, wasn't it?
I think he hit a dinger.
Yeah, see? It's even better than
Yeah, I think he hit a dinger. It was a couple years ago when we went to go see him. But yeah, he's just a big dude. He's a big
That's
dude.
the thing too, bro. That's the thing.
Yeah,
That man's built massive. Like he's built to
yeah,
hit dingers. Like it's
yeah.
so
He's made for it.
nuts. Oh,
Yeah,
I love
he's
Shohei.
he's so unbelievable. He is just absolutely fantastic. But speaking of not being fantastic, so the Cubs are sitting at 39-45. They're 7 games back of the Central. I didn't even put what they are in the wild card
Because it
because
doesn't
Central
matter.
sucks.
Yeah,
Both
doesn't
the
matter.
Central suck. So they're 7 games back. They're in 4th place. Surprisingly, the Cincinnati Reds are in first. Feel good story for sure. And then Brewers are in second, and then Pittsburgh, and then it's the Cubs. 7 games back. We are, this is July 5th. There's still a lot of baseball left. Are they buyers or sellers? I'll start since it's the Cubs. They're sellers. They're absolutely sellers. This team is not going to win this year. What I mean by sellers, like who would they sell in terms of assets? I don't know exactly who they try to sell. You could make the argument for Marcus Stroman. Maybe they try to sell him. Why don't they just like re-sign him? Like that's, I mean, like we're the Cubs. Like just figure it out. Like figure out the money. Like Stroman's pitched great for him. You could have a great 1-2 maybe the next couple of years of him and Justin Steele, and then maybe you add another starting piece, starting pitcher like next year. Maybe that's what you add, and you do something like that. But in terms of are they going to be buying? Absolutely not. I don't care how bad the Central is. This team is not going to be competing. Maybe you sell off Bellinger. Maybe Bellinger gets hot the next few weeks, and you can sell him off because he did just sign a 1-year deal. So maybe that's your sell-off piece. I would like to see him back, but I know he's been injured this year, so it's been a little bit on and off, in and out of the lineup. But yeah, from the Cubs, they are definitely not buyers. This is not a team that's going to be doing much. Yeah, you can make the argument, like my brother-in-law was trying to make the argument that it's like, oh, well, look at the Braves a couple years ago after Acuna was out. And I was like, no, it's not going to happen this year. Not going to happen this year. I don't think so with the Cubs. But so that's my thoughts here on the Cubs. I don't know if you had anything different, if you wanted to weigh in or if you wanted to go White Sox here.
No, I mean I agree. I think Cubs are in a sell spot, right? I mean they're just like you mentioned, both Central divisions are so bad, and it's like
Yeah.
I don't even know what winning the Central at this point this year is gonna do for a team, right? Especially a team like the Cubs that already had low expectations going in on like what you guys were trying to do, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't see a reason to try and buy at this point if you're them. No.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, and then we're looking at the White Sox here, 37-50, 7 games back. So again, in an awful division, the AL Central. Ryan, I think I know the answer, but I will turn it to you as the White Sox expert. Buy or sell White Sox?
Sell it all, baby. Sell it all. Yeah, no, I mean, if you're not Luis Robert, you're gone. All right, get him out of here. I think I mentioned before the show too. I'd probably keep Eloy just because I don't think his value is going to be really high right now anyway. So it's like, I don't think that's that really hurting you that much to keep Eloy. So I'd be down for that. Lucas Giolito, see ya. Tim Anderson, he gone. Yohan Moncada, get up, stretch, he gone. What else? Dylan Cease, absolutely, dude. All right, BK, I will see you at some point. We will trade with the O's. I sense it. It is destiny, my friend. It's going to happen. We're taking all your prospects, too, baby. That's what we're doing.
All the prospects.
All of them. All of them.
Yeah.
They better not
If
be
the
one
Cubs
single
did-
prospect outside of top 100, baby.
If the Cubs did want to sell those, they going back to like Cease and like starting pitching,
Yeah.
you could take Stroman.
See?
Just give us like your top prospects.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
dude. He doesn't want to
Yeah.
do that. You see this guy? Cheap
I
as
know.
shit in the chat. You know what I mean? Cheap as hell, dude.
Typical Baltimore fan because I talked
Small
about how his
market.
owner's cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talks about his owner's cheap and don't want to give up his assets. You know what? Like, what was it? I think Sylvie said this when the Cubs kind of went all in. He was like, "Yeah, prospects are cool, but parades are better."
Yeah.
Um, that's where it's at. I mean, yes, hindsight. No, it's not hindsight. Like when the Cubs traded for Chapman, yeah, Gleyber Torres turned into something, but like not so much like the superstar that he was like supposed to be. You think the Cubs regret that? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, even the Quintana thing, like, yes, they gave up Cease, yes,
Yeah.
they gave up Eloy, but like you did it because you wanted to expand your window.
Right.
So you do stuff like that, and that's why you build up the prospects. Because guess what? Not all these prospects are gonna be able to play. Okay, there's not enough positions on the field. So yeah, I'm with you. I think the White Sox are sellers here at this time, even in a bad AL Central. I feel like the entire division should just
Such
sell.
a
But
such a disappointment of a team. You know what I mean? Just a
yeah,
absolute disappointment. And every week I just continue to stay disappointed. It's pretty tough.
yeah, yeah. No, I get it. Well, I'm gonna still stay in that same division. I'll go Guardians here. So the Guardians are at 42 and 43, one game back here of the Twins. I would say, I mean, the Guardians had a lot of things just go right last year. In terms of a lot of their young pieces are just having like really good years. I was actually telling Molly this. When that happens in baseball, those are the years where you kind of go and put all your chips in one basket. That's where you kind of go in, where some of your secondary complementary guys are having like career years to piggyback off of what your big time guys have when it's like Jose Ramirez and main guys like that. Um, but based on this division, based on their pitching, based on just Tito and history, I would say they're going to be buyers. I think they're going to actually. I think they'll do a little bit of both. There's a lot of rumors around here about Bieber being traded because of this being his last year under his contract. It doesn't seem like this is going to be someone that they re-sign. So I could easily see them trading Bieber, and maybe they go for a young kind of major league ready type of hitter, like how they did with Josh Naylor a few years ago when they traded Bauer. Naylor turned into something now. It just took like a year and a half for him to kind of develop into a full everyday guy. So I think that's where they move. In terms of buying, yeah, they would need a bat. They definitely need a bat badly. It's really Naylor and Jose really in that lineup. Other than that, there's not too much that really scares you because their pitching's just been super good. I mean, that's one of the reasons I was not on the podcast a couple weeks ago. I saw Gavin Williams' first start, the kid out of ECU. They just produce pitching. I mean, that's what they do. They can't produce hitting whatsoever, but they can produce pitching. So with that, with this division, I think they'll do a little bit of both. But I think they're still going to be competitive in this division.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the Guardians, I think like you nailed it there. They're a little bit of both because they, I don't see them. Well, it's a little bit harder because I don't like them like that. But like, I
Yeah,
don't view them the same way that I view the White Sox, right? Where I don't
yeah,
know if the Guardians like is the window open? Is it
yeah,
opening? Is it closing? I don't really know where they're at, right? Where they could probably do a little bit of both. It's not going to feel bad one way or the other. Like I said, where the White Sox are, it's like, oh no, no, this window's definitely we're on the descent now. It was very quick. It was you know. So yeah, I think the Guardians would benefit from a little bit here, a little bit there.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I think that's going to happen. Well, we'll turn to the Reds here. First place Cincinnati Reds, which everybody thought would be on July 5th. They're one game up on the Brewers here in this god awful, for the most part, NL Central. Ryan, I'll have you start here with the Reds. If you're
This is
the Reds,
it's a weird
you
one.
buying or selling?
This is a weird one, dude. It's really weird because, like, obviously this is a great story with what the Reds are doing, right? How hot they are. Ellie has been fantastic. This team as a whole has been really, really good. So it's like you want to buy. I look at them how I looked at the O's last season, right?
Yeah,
Performing above expectation, but at the same time, you're like, well, I mean, we could make a run. Who says no? So I think again not similar to the Guardians in the sense of where they're at. I think, but they could probably do a little bit of both, right? I think the Reds would benefit from a little bit more starting pitching, a little bit better, more pitching. I think that would help them a lot. But they benefit again, like you mentioned, from a really bad division. And they have some really nice young pieces, some good young pieces they can start building around. So I wouldn't sell necessarily if I'm the Reds. Definitely more on the buy side. I just don't know how much you want to buy.
Yeah, no, I look at them like I kind of looked at like the 2015 Cubs. I mean, yes, that team made the NLCS. I get it, people, but I'm not saying the Reds are making the NLCS. What I'm saying is what the Cubs did at the deadline is they just added like some smaller pieces. So they added like Dan Heron. They added like some veterans to maybe have with that good mix of what they have with Joey Votto, younger guys. It's a good mix, and they're just. And I hate to admit this because they're in the division, but they are exciting to watch. They are exciting, and it's not good because they're going to be good for years, I believe, because they already have a decent farm system, and it's just starting to come up, kind of like not to the extent that we've seen with the O's, but something where it's for years to come. The Reds are going to be something to be reckoned with in the NL Central. So I think they do a little bit of a buy, but I don't think it's much, and I don't think it has to be much because the Central sucks. So I don't think they really have to do that much to win this division. All right, so we'll turn it over to the Blue Jays. Talk about a team that had expectations. We talked about this pre-show when it came to over-unders. Man, I'm sure the Blue Jays number was pretty high here going into this season. But they are sitting at 46-40, which in the tough AL East, they are 10 games back, but they're 2 games back in the wild card. We did mention earlier when we were talking about the Angels, talking about them in terms of like a wild card, just because it's like difficult maybe to make that spot. If you're the Blue Jays, Ryan, I'll turn it over to you to have you start with this one too. Expectation-wise, where they're sitting at, are you buying or are you selling if you're the Blue Jays?
Let's see. I'm looking at it here. I mean, obviously, you got Big Baby Vlad and Bo Bichette. They're having really good years, respectively. George Springer, been all right, not great. Matt Chapman, meh, he's all right, not great. Honestly, man, that's tough. That's so shitty. 10 out, and you're 46-40, man. God, if the White Sox were 46-40, dude, I'd be streaking. I'd be so excited, dude. I'd be going to the games. Man, I think they're going to be an interesting one where it's going to really depend on how this last couple of weeks go before the trade deadline and where they're at. If they go on a run, I could see them being more buyers here and just seeing what they could do. Like you said, 2 games back of the wild card. I mean, the wild cards are definitely coming out of the AL East, it feels like. So why not? But if they have a slippery slope here in the next couple of weeks, you gotta start thinking. You have to start thinking a little bit. Maybe we gotta do something here. Because that's unfortunate. I'm not a big fan of their pitching in Toronto. Not a big fan of it. And I don't know where they rank like prospect wise to really make a move to get pitching. So more than likely, what's going to end up happening is they're going to end up leaning towards the seller side.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't know exactly who they sell, but I could see that for them. And yeah, I know that this has been talked about like on Twitter, and Alex Manoah has not really obviously pitched well after his All-Star season. So to talk about a drop off there, that really hurts your starting pitching when you have a guy who you're probably depending on 200 innings of good baseball and just has not shown up. But yeah, Blue Jays are in a tough spot. It's a tough division. I hear it we hear it all the time from BK. I hear it on my end from my brother-in-law all the time as an O's fan as well. It is a tough division. So yeah, they are in a difficult spot. If you do ask me if they're buyers or sellers, I think you hit it, right in the head. Next few weeks, it'll kind of tell what that kind of looks like there for them. And yes, maybe they bring in Marcus Stroman. We'll take some of the prospects, bring him back. Part two in Toronto for Marcus Stroman. It's funny. I've just talked about how I want the Cubs to re-sign him, and I've already named 2 teams that can just go after him. So, it's all right. It's all right. Just throw it out there. Let's just build up the farm system. I'm not really sure what the Cubs are doing. Maybe, I don't know. This isn't a Cubs part. This is Blue Jays. So, but yeah, it's tough. 6 games over 500 and 10 games back and 2 games back in the wild card. So they're still within striking distance. Still a lot of baseball left. So if I'm the Blue Jays, probably based on contracts and whatnot, I probably stay the course. I don't think there's going to be much buying or selling. If they do a little bit of selling, it might be some of their veterans, maybe in the back half of the bullpen, maybe some utility guys, just to get rid of maybe some contracts. We did talk about the Angels. Here's another team that had very, very lofty expectations. The San Diego Padres. They're sitting at 40-46, 10 games back of the division leading Arizona Diamondbacks, another team that everybody had going into the season as in first place, and 6 games back in the wild card. It's not as bad for the wild card just because the NLs. It's not great. It's really not. Let me pull up the wild card standings real quick. I mean, yes, it sounds bad for 6 games back, but 6 games back of like Pittsburgh is 5.5, so they're only half game behind Pittsburgh. Then it's like Milwaukee and San Francisco are tied basically with the Phillies for that final spot. So like, there's not that many teams they really have to leap over. They do have the talent, but if you're them with the contracts it's very similar to Blue Jays. It really is. High expectations this year. You have a lot of guys on kind of like, this is kind of the year. I don't know what they do. I mean, there's another team I probably should have thrown in there now I think about it. I mean, talk about it next. I'll put it in there. But, I mean, what do you think with the Padres? Buying or selling?
There's no way you sell, dude. There's just no way because I just don't think that they can, as a front office, admit that they failed. Right? I mean,
valid point.
Tatis, that's, Juan Soto got off to such a slow start, and Manny's doing Manny, and it's just, this Padres team, you want to talk about disappointing. Because, like, I hate the White Sox for a variety of reasons. One of them is that they're super cheap. Right, that like even though I could sit here and I think a few weeks ago I joked about how like the White Sox should be on the show. Every single baseball team should be in the Shohei Ohtani sweepstakes. But I'm like the White Sox won't because they won't spend the money. Here's the Padres who spend all this money and make you say yes. I'm so excited. It's kind of like the Mets, and I literally was like, oh my god. This is so cool. I don't know what I would do if I had a team that spent money like this. But see, if my team spent all that money and still underperformed like this, then I think I'd even be more angry. I think. I don't know. Because I couldn't tell you. I don't have teams. I'm not a fan of teams that like to spend money. You know what I mean? So I have no idea. I just root for teams in a big market, but it's all right. It would really make me mad, but there's just no way you sell because then you have to admit that you screwed the pooch, and I just don't think they can do that. I think they could at least talk themselves into like, oh, we could run it back again. Like, we could try.
Yeah, no, that's a very valid point. Yeah, it's not like you have guys that are on like their last. It's not like Soto, Tatis are on their last year of their contract. Right. They have monster deals. So yeah, Machado. Like these are all guys that like, you're gonna have here. I mean, Machado signed that extension at the start of the year. After he said he was going to go to free agency. So guess what? Money talks.
Sure does.
So it sure does. Well, speaking of money talks, let's start with the Mets here, or we'll wrap up here our buy-sell segment that we have with the Mets. 39-46, 18 games back in the division. Yes, it's because the Braves are absolutely insane. How good they are. Braves, shout out to them. Nearly 30 games over 500. That's unbelievable. But 5.5 games back in the wild card. But fun fact, Cubs have a better record than the Mets. So that's not good. That's not good if you're a Mets fan. Because all we were talking about during the wintertime is ooh, look at all this money the Mets are giving out. Look at all this money that they're doing. Yeah, it's very similar story. I feel like we would say with San Diego as well as with the Mets. Where
I guess in the
I
sense,
mean,
yeah. Except,
who do
I
you?
mean, they also
Yeah,
signed 2 old ass pitchers, hoping they could just like continue to dial the clock back, and like eventually that does run out.
exactly. Like as soon as they did that, it was like, you know what? These guys are probably going to get hurt. I
Would
mean,
you rather be
these.
invested into Juan Soto or Verlander or Scherzer? You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
it's. I mean, it's not even close. It's
yeah,
definitely Juan Soto. Based on the age and whatnot. Like this is. I mean, so this is the definition of like just stupid money. This is stupid money right now because Juan Soto makes sense. Manny Machado makes sense. Tatis makes sense. These are all like younger, like we're thinking about the future type of like we want to win now, but we also have them locked up for a couple of years.
yeah.
This is just, hey, let's just try to buy a World Series just for this year. Let's go all in, and that's it. Which there's pros and cons to that. I mean, this is what the Rams did in the NFL. They went all in for the 1 year. They're not in a good spot right now, but guess what? They got a title, so they don't care. And the Mets just went all in on older pitchers, and this is what happens sometimes, especially with older pitchers. Um, yeah, if I'm the Mets, I mean, you have to ride it out. You can't get out of these contracts. You can't get out of these contracts. Nobody's going to take them on, and you don't have any like older veterans that you could trade. So, yeah, the Mets are in a crazy spot for how bad they are. But yeah, that's kind of our buy sell segment. Do you have anything additional on the Mets you want to talk about? Okay.
No, I mean I agree. I think this is what happens sometimes, right? You have good and bad sides of spending money and going out there and being aggressive, and this is the bad side, unfortunately, where it's not working out for the Mets right now, and they're kind of
For
stuck.
sure.
They're just stuck.
They are. Yep. Well, all right. So we did have our home run derby guys announced.
The bracket
here
is
for this
announced
upcoming
too.
Monday. What?
The bracket's been announced too. I got it right here for you, buddy.
Oh, brackets announced. All right. Well, let's do it. Let's unveil the bracket.
All right, let's start with the 4 versus the 5. It's going to be Adolius Garcia versus Randy Arozarena. That's the 4 and the 5 matchup. The number 3 versus the number 6 is going to be Mookie Betts versus Big Bad Baby Vlad. The 2 seed Pete Alonso versus the hometown Julio Rodriguez at 7. And boy, oh boy, is the group chat going to be ready, because number 1 seed Luis Roberts opens up against the 8 seed Adley Rutschman, baby. Woo! Fuck the O's.
This should be really good.
Luis got the 1 seed. Very excited.
I mean,
Gonna suck on FanDuel, but it's fine.
well, no, because all right. So the seeds are based on how many homers they have, correct?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So the matchups are fantastic. I just kind of put that in the notes now. It looks a lot nicer than it did before. So thank you for going through that.
No problem.
But I mean, you got some big guys in here.
This will be fun.
I mean, this should be phenomenal. I mean, I know BK is not happy about Julio Rodriguez being in the home run derby. It makes sense. It's in Seattle. I don't know if BK knows this, but it's in Seattle. So they're going to try to get the hometown guy in there. I get it that Julio Rodriguez should not have made the All-Star team. You know who should have made the All-Star team? We didn't have this as part of the notes, but Josh Naylor should have made the All-Star team. The guy's hitting almost 300. He has 10 homers and 60 ribbies. I mean, he leads like first baseman in ribbies. Makes no sense. But that's all right. We're talking about home run derby here. But yeah, you got some big guys. I'm interested. Is this the first year Mookie's done it?
No, I don't think so.
He's done it before, right?
I think Mookie's totally done it before. Hold on, let me look.
Okay.
I'm almost positive he has.
Okay. Him against Vladdy Jr., that should be great. Julio Rodriguez, the hometown guy against Pete Alonso. I think Pete Alonso kind of likes being the bad guy, so I think this will work. Luis Robert against Adley Rutschman. I mean, that should be awesome.
Oh, no, you're right. You're right. This is his first one.
How about that? Well,
All right.
I'm very intrigued to see how he does. Just because you don't think of Mookie Betts as a home run hitter. You really don't. So I'm interested to see how he does. And then a couple newcomers. No, Arozarena, was he in last year? Maybe he wasn't.
No.
Maybe he wasn't. All right. So him against Garcia should be good too. But yeah. All right. So I know this is early. I know the bracket literally was like just revealed. Ryan, I think I have a general idea. Who are you going with?
Ah, dude, it's La Pantera, baby. We are taking Luis Robert to do it. That's the one good thing for the White Sox that we get. He's going to go out there and make sure everybody knows he should have been an AL starter in the All-Star game. Let's get it. I'm excited. Let's start our All-Star weekend off with a bang with Luis Robert winning the Home Run Derby.
There we go. There we go. Well, I feel like BK's got to pick Adley. So
I don't
that
know. He
just
did
makes
not
sense.
sound. He did not sound confident in him at all in the group chat earlier.
Yeah, well, you know what? He has to pick Adley by default. So
Yeah, okay.
that's just how it's gonna be. But no, it's funny because it's you against BK. It's really what it is. It's really what that comes down to. If I had to pick anyone right now, God, I know that we talked about this pre-show, and I still have no idea who I really want to go with. Oh man, you know what? Give me Pete Alonso. Give
Polar
me Pete
Bear Pete.
Alonso.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stick with it. Just stick with it, Pete Alonso. I feel like that's a safe answer. But yeah, like we'll be making a little wager on FanDuel, maybe $5, $10, whatever it looks like. See what the odds look like for these guys. The odds might be out now. Now that the bracket was revealed.
Let's take a gander, dude. Let me take a gander
Yeah,
for you.
yeah. If you want to take a look at that, but no, I'm excited for the Derby. It should be fun. I like the new format that they started a few years ago. It's where it's timed, not taking as long. I feel like this should be a good little format here for sure.
Yeah. No, they're not out yet. Waiting on it, but
Okay.
not out yet.
All right. Well, I think it's really it for baseball.
Oh, well,
Do we?
I mean, I just wanted to say, I understand BK's point. Julio Rodriguez making the All-Star game and all that, right? He's batting 248. He's only got 13
Yeah.
homers, 47 ribbies. He's had a really bad statistical year. But isn't it baseball, every team has to get one representative, right?
Yeah. Every team's got to get one. Yeah.
I mean, there's your one, dude. Seattle has not been good. I was looking at it,
No.
and I'm not like very zoned in on baseball at this point because my team sucks. But I mean, I get it. You know what I mean? And he had a really great home run derby last year, so of course want to bring him back. And it's in Seattle, so it's
Yeah.
like I get it, dude. I understand. He sucks, but you know what? Everybody gets one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. But yeah, that's really it for baseball that we got so far. Yeah, not really much to talk about.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I don't think there's anything else either because there's really nothing going on in football. We're in that dead zone here in the beginning of July. I knew I was bored because I came home and I started typing everybody's final rosters in for fantasy football, so that's done with. So I can pull names for draft order. And listen, dude, I'm ready. I mentioned earlier in the chat, in the group chat, our podcast group chat, how I've been doing this my third year now with the same group of people on the Sleeper app. It's a last man standing, so it's 32 teams, right? You all draft, and then when like the lowest two teams, the lowest score each week get knocked out, their players go to free agency, and it's all fab bidding. This is very fun. It's very, very fun.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, very
nice.
fun. I don't know. I was drafting like fifth, sixth. No, I drafted eighth right now. It's a slow draft. It's gonna take weeks to finish this shit. But so far, Christian McCaffrey, Bryce Young, and DJ Moore. That's how we started it off here.
There we go.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, almost went Jordan Love. Almost did it. Almost did. Almost.
Is it a two quarterback league?
No, it's not.
I was gonna say there's no way it's two quarterbacks.
No, hell no, dude. Not 13.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I got
Yeah,
scared though.
that was a dumb question.
I did
Dumb
get scared because like the quarterbacks are going hot after I took Christian McCaffrey, and I'm like, uh oh, dude, I'm gonna end up with like Sam Howell or something. You know what I mean? And then like Bryson Jordan came through. Kyler Murray was sitting there, and all right, now this person took Sam Howell over Jordan Love, and I think that's ridiculous. You know what I mean? I understand neither of them really played a start in the NFL. However, I don't, you know.
Man, man. All right.
Yeah,
All
we'll see.
right. Jordan
We'll see.
Love, I hope you heard that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Next pod, I'll let you know what my whole team was. I'll let y'all know. Until then, make sure you check out the show on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. It's at AmNationPod. And as of right now, Threads from Instagram, it's like Instagram's answer to Twitter, is live for iOS users. So you can check out AmNationPod on Threads as well. Listen to the podcast on podcast services such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and more. Just search Amalgamation Nation. Also, check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/AmNationPod. Like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. We appreciate it. Twitch.tv/Undead Black Bulls, where you find David. If you have Amazon Prime, you get a free Twitch Gaming sub a month. So give it to Undead Black Bull. And help support the show. It works across to you. That Epic Games content creator code is AmNationPod. We appreciate that very, very much. Hope everybody had a great 4th of July, all that good stuff. And until next time, you stay breezy.